justice, temperance, wisdom, courage. Applying ancient philosophy to modern times, this is the Sunday Stoic.
Oh, far out, man. You've got to go inside to find out where the truth lies, you know. And that's what we do when we meditate. Have you ever meditated? Stoics did a form of meditation, but not a clear the mind kind of meditation. More of a examine yourself sort of meditation. Examine your day. How have you done? How are you doing? What did you do right and wrong? And I've been doing this podcast now for a few months, and I want to make sure that I'm not falling into the trap of those who can do and those who can't teach, right? Not that I'm coming to you as an expert on Stoicism. I'm learning as we go. But I want to make sure that I'm learning and applying to my life. So I signed up for a course recently, one that involves some of this meditation business. It's called Stoic Mindfulness and Resilience. So Stoic Mindfulness and Resilience, this is a course put on by Donald Robertson. Donald is a cognitive, what is he? Let me look on the website here. He's a cognitive therapist from Scotland originally, but now he lives in Canada. And he is a practicing Stoic, and he's written several books on Stoicism. You may have some on your shelf. They're on Amazon.com. But he has this free course that I've signed up with, and one of the first exercises was watching your thoughts, creating an internal, I think of it like Jane Goodall watching the chimpanzees, okay? Now substitute like Marcus Aurelius, or think of Jane Goodall as a Stoic, and sitting there with a notepad watching the chimpanzees of your mind. You've got to watch the chimpanzees in your mind, you know. Instead of chimpanzees, though, we're thinking about emotions, thoughts, and then also actions. And so you're making unbiased records of what you're thinking, what you're doing. And kind of that helps you to bring your unconscious self to the conscious side, so you can think about, why is it that when I do this, I get mad? I can feel myself getting mad. Before I'm mad, I should quit then, or I should stop and breathe. Or why is it that this makes me sad? Or what leads me to take that first drink in the evening when I probably shouldn't? Or whatever it may be, it helps you to think about it. So, highly recommend checking this course out. I've only been doing it for a short time, and the course has already started, but I'm sure it will be available again. You can check it out at modernstoicism.com. And soon, I think in like October, maybe November, Stoic Week will be started. And this is a chance for you to practice applying Stoicism for a full week and keeping records on how it affects your life. And if I hear about it in time, I'll be sure to let you know about it. Now, today's episode focuses on this idea of a self-examined life. There are a lot of people out there that don't deeply examine their lives. And Epictetus says, well, these are people that know certain things are wrong. They will not admit publicly to doing things that are wrong. But there are things that they don't think are wrong that really are wrong. And they will admit to those things. So they don't really understand the line between good and evil. So remember, we kind of established this idea through reading the ancient text, what the perfect Stoic would have looked like and how they would behave. And we kind of hold them up as a goal, knowing we'll never quite reach that summit, right? But we can at least work our way up towards that summit. Get as high up on the mountain as we can. And he says that, you know, the perfect Stoic, of course, would know their thoughts, know their actions, know themselves. But these individuals that we run into on a daily basis don't take the time to examine their lives. And we know that the unexamined life is not worth living. And we definitely don't want to commit that error. So let's hear from Epictetus. But before we do, you can email me at sundaystoic@gmail.com. Check out the show on Facebook. You can send me a message there. And also I have a YouTube channel where I post links from other Stoics, other videos, and I post the episodes on there as well. So check it out, and let's hear from Epictetus. Discourses of Epictetus, number 21. There are some admissions which men readily make, others they do not. Now no one will admit that he is thoughtless or foolish. On the contrary, you will hear everyone say, "What, that I had luck, as I have wits." But men readily admit that they are cowards, and say, "I am a bit of a coward." I admit, but for the rest you will find me no fool. A man will not readily own to a lack of self-control, or to injustice. You ask the reason. The most vital reason is a confusion and want of consistency in men's views of what is good and evil. But apart from this, different persons are affected by different motives. Speaking generally, people are not ready to own to qualities which to their mind appear base. Cowardice and a sense of pity they imagine show good nature. Silliness, a slavish mind, and social faults they are at least ready to admit. In most of the errors which they are inclined to confess to, it is because they think there is an involuntary element, as in the cowardly and the pitiful. So, if anyone does own to a lack of self-control, he brings in passion, to give him the excuse of involuntary action. Injustice is in no circumstances conceived as involuntary. There is an involuntary element, they think, in jealousy, and for this reason, this too is a fault which men confess. Moving on then, as we do among men of this character, so bewildered, so ignorant of what they are saying, or of what evil is theirs, or whether they have any, or what is the reason of it, or how they are to be relieved, we ought ourselves, I think, to be constantly on our guard, asking ourselves, am I too perhaps one of them? What impression have I of myself? How do I bear myself? Do I too bear myself as a man of prudence and self-control? Am I conscious as the man who knows nothing should be that I know nothing? Do I come to my teacher as to the oracles prepared to obey? Or do I come to a school like a driveler, to learn nothing but history and to understand the books which I did not understand before, and, if so by chance, to expound them to others? So Epictetus is saying everyone knows they have faults. We won't often acknowledge the ones that we're ashamed of, that we know are wrong. But some of our faults we might brag about as if they were virtue. And what are those faults that we brag about? One of them, he says, is cowardice. I'd never do that. I'd never jump into this situation, or I'd never speak up in this situation. Thinking that being timid is virtuous. Sometimes being quiet is virtuous, right? But sometimes you have to act. And Stoic courage is knowing when to speak up, when to act. And you do this when it's the right thing to do. So you apply your wisdom and you have the bravery to actually implement it. The other time he says people are proud of their vices is a sense of pity. And this one sounds really weird. Like we all think, whoa, what do you mean a sense of pity? And I think what Epictetus is saying here is a lot of times if we are showing pity to someone who's grieving, for example, we share in their pain, and that's a very unstoic thing to do. You can show concern for someone, but your goal is to be happy here, and one way to destroy being happy is to feel someone else's pain. And why don't you want to do that? Because you have no control over the source of that pain. Remember, we are concerning ourselves with things in our power. When it comes to strong emotions, we can feel love, we can feel happiness, but we're trying to negate the effects of the negative emotions. We're not going to flush them out. We're not going to eliminate feeling bad. We need to feel those things from time to time, but we're not going to let those things get their claws into us and hang on for too long. So showing too much, I guess showing pity might be the wrong way to say that, but feeling pain of others is something we try to avoid. But once again, this is an ancient philosophy. You can take or leave these pieces as you see fit. We're building our own philosophy here based on this ancient philosophy. We're modernizing it a bit. So take what you need and leave what doesn't work for you as long as you're consistent. But they say, a lot of people say they think if there's passion involved, like in jealousy, well, I caught her with another man, so I punched him in the face or whatever, that they think if there's an involuntary element that it's okay to act in a non-virtuous way. But the most important thing here is he says, okay, we see all these people doing things that we may not agree with, but we have to ask ourselves, are we really them? Are we really like them? Are we ignoring our own faults? And that's why we have to examine our own lives. That's why I'm doing this Stoic training online. So I'm doing more than reading about it and talking about it into a microphone. I'm trying to live it as much as I can. How do I bear myself? Am I a person of self-control? Am I a person who knows nothing and admits that I know nothing? If so, that's okay. But you don't want to be someone who knows nothing but pretends to know it all. And as he says at the end here, do I come to Stoicism to learn and to live it? Or do I come to it just to learn it and then talk about it? And that's what I want to avoid as your podcast host. I want to make sure that I am living some of this. And I have lived some of this. I've applied some of this to my own life. I have noticed a decrease in my quickness to anger. I have a bit of a temper problem. I can be a jerk, and I don't like that about myself. I know enough to examine it and say, I have this problem. And I still blow up and get mad when I'm woodworking, for example, and I'm not a good woodworker, so therefore I make lots of mistakes, and those mistakes irk me. They tick me off. But I'm better now at setting something down and walking away. Or when I do get mad, I can bring it back down faster than I used to. And I'm aware of the pain I can cause others, like my wife, by lashing out when I'm mad. And I don't like that about myself, and it's one of the things I want to control. I am now a dad. I started studying Stoicism in 2016, and basically January of 2017, and now it's July of 2017. I've seen some growth. I can only imagine what 10 years of this practice can do for me. I want to be a good dad. I want to be a person who examines his own life and tries to correct mistakes. You know, if you're just sailing a ship and you don't give a crap where it's going, you know, that's your prerogative. That's kind of a hedonistic philosophy, right? It feels good to sail this way, so I'll go this way. My goal as a Stoic practitioner is to lead a life of purpose, to have consistency from top to bottom, which is going to be hard for me. I'm a messy person, but I'm trying. I'm trying to improve. And so on the mountain here, we have the Stoic sage, the perfection that we are climbing towards. We're not going to get to the top of that mountain, but let's see how far up we can get. Okay? All right. So email the show, sundaystoic@gmail.com. Examine your life. Try to correct those faults, even those faults that you think are virtues. And show compassion to your fellow human beings, but you don't have to tear yourself up inside while doing it. All right? So until then, carpe diem, seize the day, and be stoic.